We had several disagreements there, yeah.
At the very end, because you got tired of being like me, I'm sure.
I pick independently. I
Which
don't
is
care
normal. I get it, Mike. A lot of people
Yeah.
want to be like.
You're one of those people like you're at a restaurant, and you were going to order something, and then I order it. You're one of those people that's going to change your order because you can't get the same thing as me.
Why? Why would I do that, Mike? I picked first. You picked after me. So how am I one of those people? How am I one of those people?
I'm asking you, are you?
It sounds
are you one of
like
those people?
It sounds like you're explaining yourself.
I asked you a question.
All right, good evening, everyone. This is the Raw Sports Debate brought to you by Leslie and Michael Steven. Today, we're going to give you our Week 3 picks and then talk about some teams on decline and then some teams that, are doing really good on the uprise. And then also talk about our top 5 MVP candidate as of yet, okay? To start with, we're going to go with our picks. I know last week, I'm not really sure. What was the record for last week?
You won the week, 11-5.
Okay.
Carly finished second. She was 10-6, and I was 9-7.
Okay. Well, I'm ready to capitalize on that. I'm ready to keep the winning ways going. Okay.
But year to date right now, right? You two are tied for second. 15 wins, 16 losses, 1 tie. All right. This is hard though. Most people, admittedly, are probably around 50%. These games could have gone either way. A ton of these games.
Honestly, like I said, week 1 through 6 is tough. It's shaky. After week 6, then you can pick clear games.
But you're 2 games behind. You're both 2 games behind me. I'm 17, 14, and 1.
That's gonna change after this week. But let's get started. All right.
All right. Who you got?
So week 3, starting with the Browns and the Steelers tomorrow night. Browns and Steelers. Browns are home. Steelers on the road.
I'm going with the Browns.
You going with the Browns?
I'm going with the Browns. Chubb, Brissett. I don't trust them, but I feel like they're due for a win here. And Najee Harris is still a little banged up.
Yeah.
Supposed fantasy stud.
I agree with you on that. Sometimes when the teams are almost even, I just weigh with who's the most comfortable, quarterback, behind center. And I think Brissett has been in the league a little longer. He's been a backup for way longer. He's been behind Brady and all those. So I'm going to go with the Browns as well. Might be the first time we're going to agree on something today. All right, I'm going to go with the Browns, all right?
Both defenses are dope. Obviously, we know that. But,
Steelers defense is amazing.
Yeah.
Even though TJ is down, I think they're still going to be doing great for sure.
Yep.
And, the Browns got Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt. I think they got the best running back duo in the league for sure. I don't know what your takes on that, but I think for sure they got the best duo of running back, 1-2 punch in the league for sure. All right, now we'll hop into the next game. Bills at Fins. I'm going with the Bills for sure.
Should be a great game.
I think that's going to be one of those 38-40 game. Like
one of those old school Dan Marino, Jim Kelly games, 44-34, right?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe, or maybe not. But yeah, after last week, watching Tua, props to Tua. About 470 yards and 6 touchdowns. Very impressive work.
He did. He did put up some good work.
Did not see that coming. So now that I still pick the Bills until further notice, I think they're the best team in the league. They're so explosive.
I agree.
Yeah, I got to go with them even on the road here. But it could be a tight game, or the Bills could beat them by 10, 15 points. I'm going to say it's going to be a close game.
Close game.
After what I saw last week.
With the Bills.
Yeah. Awesome. 31, 28, something like that.
I think there's one team is going to put up 40.
Yeah,
one team is going to put up 40. And I'll tell you this right now. Josh Allen puts up 40 by third quarter. Miami Dolphins offense puts up 40-41 by fourth quarter,
All
So
right.
there's levels to this here.
45-41 game, you think?
Yeah, no, but I think the Bills defense is a better defense than the Ravens defense. They're not gonna let nothing like that happen. Tua, if he's gonna put up a big game and hold on to his end, this is a game. This is the biggest test right here against the Bills. Personally, I think the game on the road in Buffalo will probably be tougher, but this is like the first test of the season. The Ravens game was a huge test, but this will be the real one. If they could beat the Bills, I think they're gonna, beat anybody besides maybe KC in the AFC. But other than that, like I said, I'm sticking with the Bills for week 3. And then we got Cincy on the road at the New York Jets. I'm going with Cincy because I think they're due for a win. 0-2 to start the season. They're on a little bit of a decline, and that's very common, teams going to the Super Bowl or going to the NFC Championship, and then the next season, taking a little bit of a decline. This is something that, I think you and I both talked about. We expected that to happen, but we just didn't think they were going to lose to a team like Cowboys last week. They got me on my Survivor League, which I'm mad about. But I'm picking Joe Burrow and the Cincinnati Bengals to beat the Jets this week. What about you, Mike?
Well, they've got hit me twice already because I picked them last week. I picked them week 1. Listen, it looks like Joe Burrow's taking a lot of sacks. He's holding on to the ball. Seems like he's got a little too much swag from last year, and it seems like teams are just playing a cover 2 against him, and he's not taking what the defense gives him. Now, he's a young quarterback. I think that even in our earlier, thoughts about the season, we might have been overrating him a little bit. I do think he's a top 10 quarterback at the tail end, but the jury's out, man. There's films out on him now. I think they caught lightning in a bottle last year. So just something to watch out for. I just think, he might be a little too cocky for his own good sometimes. But okay. I think he turns it around. I think they get the running game going with Mixon. I do like their defense, and I think they'll win a close one over the Jets. But I am stunned the Jets won last week. That there's 2 touchdowns in the last 2 minutes. Joey Flacco.
1 minute 48 seconds.
Joe Flacco must have thought he was playing the Patriots 10 years ago or something. It was stunning.
He thought he was playing the 49ers in the 2013 Super Bowl.
Jersey Joe Flacco, baby. So he is not to be underestimated, but I do think the Browns get this win.
Absolutely. All right. Now the Raiders versus Tennessee. I'm going with Tennessee with this one. Both teams are bad, and they're not doing good, compared to what they did last year and some of the acquisitions that they made. With Tennessee, I think the moment they stop Derrick Henry, they're not a huge threat on offense. Their defense is still good, but on offense, they're still a little shaky. So I'm gonna go with Tennessee in this game as a bounce back win. Both teams are 0-2, Raiders and Tennessee. One of them is due for a win, and I think Tennessee needs it more because they're in a weaker division, and I think they need to keep up with the teams like Jacksonville, Texans, things like that. And I think this is the time. You gotta get it out of here. Get these rough wins against some of these teams. Yeah, you lost to the Bills. I know we get that. They're a better team by far. It seemed like Raiders, they're almost about the same level. Tannehill, Derek Carr, almost the same level, average quarterbacks. So I could see the game going either way. But I picked Tennessee just because they're home.
You're never going to pick the Raiders this year, are you? You're going to find every reason to pick against the Vegas.
I've picked against them twice, and they've lost twice. So you tell me.
Yeah, no, hey, they just keep confirming your beliefs. They really blew that game. Kyler Murray was amazing in the fourth quarter, but man, they need to make a stop or just put that game away, and not fumble it away like they did at the end. So, Henry has been kind of stifled this year a little bit. I do think it's a bounce back game for them, and I do think that they're going to win this game. Close game. It could go either way for sure, but I am going to go with the Titans.
Oh, you going with Tennessee as well?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I said I'd give you crap about the Vegas for a little bit.
I thought you were going with the Raiders. I was like, Mike, I don't know what's wrong with you, but anyway, I hope we both right.
Okay.
Saints versus the Panthers. Saints on the road against the Panthers. I'm going with the Saints. I think they got a better quarterback running back situation, and then a better defense. Um, Winston, Mayfield, they're not, far off of each other. Right now, I think Winston looks a little bit more comfortable in that offense compared to Baker, so I'll still give the win to Winston and Alvin Kamara and them boys down in the Saints against Panthers. What about you?
Wow.
This is a tough one.
Very tough. I'm going to go with famous Jameis and the Saints
Okay.
in a close one.
Close one. Yeah, I think this week's games there a lot of them are gonna be a lot of close
Divisional
games.
game. Baker's, just still getting used to that system.
Yep.
And again, like you said, I trust Alvin Kamara. Both teams have a solid defense. I'm going to go with the Saints in a tough one.
Yeah, nice. All right, now the Ravens at Patriots.
Great game.
Yep.
Who
I
you
got
got?
the Ravens. I got the Ravens just because, after last week's loss, John Harbaugh and his defense are gonna, have a lot of talk that hey, this can't happen. They're playing a younger guy as well, in Mac Jones, and they're like, hey, let's not repeat this again. The Pats looked really good last week against the Steelers. I did pick the Steelers and I lost on that one. But I think, I'm gonna go against him one more time, Bill. Come on. Let me get this dub. I'm going with the Ravens and Lamar Jackson. I trust Lamar, and Lamar we trust. So yeah, I'm going with the Ravens on this one.
Yeah, Patriots did beat the Steelers last week. Um, I in games like this, I tend to go with the team with the best player. So I agree. I'm going with the Ravens.
The Ravens it
Their
is.
defense better get it together though. Otherwise, the Patriots are going to put up, 27, 30 points on them.
Yeah.
I could see that happening. That team will concoct something. So I do think the Ravens pull it out. If I had to make a pick here.
Nice. And now we got the Lions on the road at Vikings, divisional game as well. I'm going with the Detroit Lions. I picked them last week. I'm a ride with them. I think they're on a huge rise this year. They show signs of, toughness at the end of the season, the last 3 games or 4 games they lost. A lot of games by 2 points, 1 point, 3 points, and then lost their very last game. So I think this season they came in with, extraordinary, strength and, coaching staff. Everybody's on fire. I think Detroit is on a rise here. I'm going with Detroit upsetting the Vikings at home.
I'm going with the Vikings strongly.
Confidently.
I think, it's not a nationally televised game. So, the quarterback will play okay. What was I thinking picking Kirk Cousins on a Monday night game?
Kirk Cousins is the worst Monday night quarterback.
Oh, even when he plays well, he still manages to lose. So and he did not play well against the Eagles by a long shot. What was I thinking? But this is not a nationally televised game. It was like that Tony Romo. Romo would always be clutch as hell on the 1 o'clock set, and every time he was on a national game, some bad luck went against him. He threw a bad
knows how to
pick.
choke. Yeah.
And that's a whole nother story. But no, I'm picking the Vikings. I do think the Lions are on the come up, but I trust the Vikings more, especially with how they looked in week 1.
Okay.
At home.
Nice.
They play better at home in a dome.
Okay. So far, I think that's our first game.
Actually, do they play in a dome anymore? Or is it like a retractable dome? Where are they playing? Vikings.
They got a new stadium.
Yeah. I'm still used to the old school
stadium.
Yeah.
Nice stadium. All right. Now the Eagles are the Commanders. I'm going with the Eagles because their offense looks a little bit more sharper. And I think Jalen Hurts looks way comfortable compared to Carson Wentz. Carson Wentz is still pulling it together. Last week they were down by 27 points, and he rallied them back, and they lost the game by I think 3 or 4 points. So they're still gonna be solid, but I think the Eagles got a better run offense, and then Hurts looks amazing right now. Right now, they still haven't played. Like I'm telling everybody, pump your brakes. They still haven't played a playoff team last year yet. So it could be signs of them just playing weak teams to start, and then maybe choke when the time comes. But I think this is one of those teams that didn't make the playoffs last week. They're going to roll right through them, and I'm going with the Eagles again.
Yeah, Jalen Hurts really impressed me. I think he had about 380 total yards, 3 touchdowns on Monday night. He looked like a great leader. Seems like he's the guys really respect him. Offensive line looks great, and the defense. We saw what they did to Minnesota. So, yeah, I'm picking the Eagles in this one. They should win by a touchdown or 2.
Nice. All right, now the Chiefs and the Colts.
Chiefs.
I'm going with the Chiefs as well. There's a no-brainer. The Colts are not a good team. Any team with Matt Ryan behind center is not a good team. And
they didn't look good last week.
I already told you before the season started, but we could roll back the clips and we could talk about it. But anyway, I'm going with the Chiefs on this one. I don't even got to say much. They got an MVP candidate on the other side. All right, now the Texans versus the Bears. I got an upset here. I got the Texans going into Chicago in the city to beat the Bears. Who you got?
I'm going to go with the Bears.
And I'll tell you why. That's because they look really, really good against a team like Denver, Russ couldn't do jack. So if they can make Russell Wilson look like that, they can probably put some points up against Chicago. So yeah, my point exactly.
That's a good point. My counterpoint.
Sometimes teams gotta prove something. They still lost the game. We get it. But again, at the end of the day, they kept Russell Wilson under 20 points. So yes, that factor right there is the reason why I think they're gonna beat the Bears.
I have a strong counterpoint. The Bears beat the incredible 49ers in week 1 at home.
They're not incredible. You think they're incredible.
And you picked them to be division winners. So, I'm just saying the Bears beat them.
Who picked them to be division winners?
You picked the 49ers to make the playoffs.
I never picked the 49ers to
make the playoffs. You went back.
So I never even said anything like that.
No?
I never said anything like that.
You didn't pick the 49ers to make the playoffs.
Mike, I never picked the Niners to make the playoffs. I said we could be 7-10
Let's
or
roll back
10-7. You know why? Because we had Trey Lance on the center. And shout out to Trey Lance, unfortunate injury. But hopefully he's back next year better than ever.
There goes one of your bold predictions.
There goes one of my bold predictions. Yeah, you're right. You know what I mean? Don't worry about it, Mike. I'm not about to sit here and dig out the crap that you talk about. But go ahead. You going with the Bears? Good.
But good reason. Right. It is a good reason, though. I was thinking of the Texans defense look dope. And
yeah, they made Russell Wilson look like Geno Smith on the Jets. So yeah, I could see that. But anyway, so you going with the Bears? You sure?
Positive.
Okay. All right. Now the Jacksonville Jaguars on the road at the Chargers. I'm going with the Chargers just because, they have the best player. The best player is the best defense, the best receiving core. Not really a lot that the Jags can put up. I think it's going to be a close game, actually, believe it or not. And if Justin Herbert doesn't play, this is going to be a huge upset. But I'm going with the Chargers on this one.
I think he's playing, right? I know he's got rib issues.
Questionable, but I think he is playing at this point. The coach could be like, you know what? It's only week 3. We could see you for 2-3 weeks, heal up a little bit, but a bruised, and cracked ribs, something like that is gonna take a whole season. So if he sits, plays, all of that, nothing is gonna change. Only thing you can do is protect him from getting hit a lot. That's
Who's
all.
Their backup? I should know this.
It won't matter when he's down. I tell you that right now. It won't matter. Probably Chase Daniels, one of these bums. Only the Niners had a good backup quarterback in Jimmy Garoppolo.
Now he's good.
Other than that, none of it mattered. But anyway,
he spent the whole offseason ripping Jimmy GQ. Now he's a great backup. Backup quarterback's the best gig in the league, bro.
is a good backup, not a
Yeah.
good starter.
I
Not a
get your
starter
point.
from you. I don't know what you don't understand. Jimmy G is a solid backup. Something happens, he's gonna happen. Like right now, our team is gonna look even better. I predicted us to be 7-10. Now we can actually be 10-7 because he's more familiar with the system. Trey Lance had a lot of growing to do. So yeah, I just didn't want to expect too much from him. But with Jimmy, he's been in the league for 8 years and counting. He needs to do more. So
I'm going
yeah,
with the Jaguars.
you going with the Jaguars?
Yeah.
Okay, nice. I like that. All right, and now the Rams are Cardinals. I'm going with the Cardinals.
Eli Stafford is due for another couple picks. I'm going to go with the Cardinals. They're going to fly high after that ridiculous finish. Kyler Murray was insane in the fourth quarter, but the first few quarters, he was not very good. So I'm not confident about this pick. I'm going to go with the Cardinals in a close one. I'm not confident about it. I think, revenge for what happened in the playoffs last year. But then again, the playoffs last year, it wasn't even close. So
Yeah.
part of me gets a little concerned about that. But I'm going to go with the Cardinals in a close one.
Nice. All right, now the Packers at Tampa Bay Bucks. I'm going with the Bucks. They both are banged up. The Packers are not really banged up. They just don't have that big name receivers this year. They have average receivers. Last year they had the best receiver in the league. So now, it's not looking the same. Same with Tom Brady. Chris Godwin is out. Mike Evans is suspended. His best receiver is probably going to be Brashad Perriman and Gage. So those two, being your best, it's almost like him and Rodgers are even at this point, So I'm going to go with the home team and the better defense and the greatest quarterback of all time in Tom Brady and the Bucks. Your turn.
Packers.
I'm glad you did. Anyway, Falcons at Seattle Seahawks.
Rodgers looked great last week. I have faith in him. But
I don't have faith in him.
Nah, he'll win this game. And I also say he's going to beat Brady in the playoffs this year. So we'll see if that comes to fruition.
Let's see. Let's see about that. But I'm going with the Hawks beating on Falcons. Close game, super close game. But I think Marcus Mariota is due for a bad game, and this is going to be the game.
Falcons, because I'm rooting for him. It's a tie. That's an even call. This is a pick 'em. I'm going to go with the Falcons.
Niners at Denver Broncos. I'm going with the Niners because they're the better team. Not so confident about this because they're on the road, but just because they're the better team, I'm going with the Niners.
The Niners are favored by a point.
I could see that. I mean, just think about it.
I saw the way Denver played for 2 games. The coach is not handling big situations well. The clock management's a mess. And there's some injuries. Jerry Jeudy, I'm not sure if he's playing. So I am going to go with Denver. I have faith in Russell on primetime games, although he's slipping a little bit lately. He used to be dynamite on primetime. Now he's just really good. But I'm going to stick that Denver's going to get it together. Maybe a little more up-tempo, guys. Both of you. Russ, Hackett, right? A little up-tempo. You don't have to wait. The crowd should not be chanting 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Like, really? How about you get the playoff?
That's Russ. He's lost.
Not a problem. It was not a problem in his career.
He's lost. Right? It was never, but now it is. So he lost.
It's early.
He lost. But honestly, also, it's a little bit early. It's only the 3rd game in the new team. You got to give him some time. New coach, new system. Got to give him.
But he's got to push it out up tempo. Up tempo a little bit.
Yeah, but we know Russ is very passive. He is very passive.
Now maybe he'll listen to Raw Sports Debate and he'll get it through his skull.
Maybe. And honestly, I think he could use this motivation as well. But from what we know from Russ and his career, he's very passive. So this is gonna, if, and I'm gonna tell you this right now. If he sits behind and let the coach handle, and this whole let Russ cook, and he wants out, now he's out. So this is the time where I think he got to put his foot down. He's 33 years old. He's not a kid no
He's
more.
not going to Belichick or Reed. He's going to a new coach
That could use him.
Yeah.
They could both benefit and make each other look good. But again, it's Russ, very passive.
And red zone inefficiency. He's been very inefficient in the red zone right now. Maybe the worst team in the league in the red zone. So they need to get that figured out. A couple of really close calls.
Don't count out the Raiders.
A couple of really close plays, but bottom line is they haven't gotten the end zone. So they need to do a lot better. That's how you win games.
Absolutely.
But the defense does look great. I do think their defense has been very good.
Denver's defense past 6-7 years has been the best in about.
Think about it. They gave up 17 points to Seattle, and after that they gave up 0 and then 9. So the last 6 quarters they gave up 9 points. Yeah. So I don't care who you're playing. I don't care if me and you were quarterbacking teams. That's really good. So
now the last but not the least, the Cowboys are the New York Giants. Wow, weird game. Why is this on Monday? Oh, maybe they thought they would be
Cowboys,
good.
Giants, man. It's tradition. Who you got?
I got the Giants.
Me too. I got the
Giants confidently. You won't hear me pick the Cowboys, especially if they don't have Dak Prescott.
Listen, I grew up in a Giant household. These Dallas, New York games, they always, like, the road team always ends up having, like, the edge in these primetime games. I can't describe it. It doesn't have to make sense. I've just seen it so many friggin' times. And it's just like something just goes right, and the home team thinks they got it, and the road team steals it. I've seen it over and over again. So I do think it's going to be a close game. But I am going with the Giants. They've pulled out 2 nail biters so far. Might as well roll with them again.
Nice. Yeah. No, I do agree with that. I do agree with that. I think how many? We had about 3 or 4.
We had several disagreements there, yeah.
At the very end, because you got tired of being like me, I'm sure.
I pick independently.
Which is normal. I get it, Mike. A lot of people want to be like.
You're one of those people, like, you're at a restaurant, and you were going to order something, and then I order it. You're one of those people that's going to change your order because you can't get the same thing as me.
Why? Why would I do that, Mike? I picked first. You picked after me. So how am I one of those people? How am I one of those people?
I'm asking you, are you? Are you one of those people?
It sounds like you're explaining yourself.
I asked you a question. Because I'm not. If you order the exact meal,
you are.
Because
you said, you
if
picked
I'm going to order a meal, I'm going to get it.
You picked a lot of teams today that you go, oh, I'm not confident. But you picked them just because you don't want to be on the same page with me, brother. I get it.
Who's that?
Go back. Listen, after week 3, let's look at the record again, all right? But we'll end on that note. We'll end our picks on that note. Now, let me hear Carly's picks for this week, if she has them.
All right. She's got the Browns, the Chiefs, the Ravens, the Texans, the Raiders, the Bills, Vikings, Bengals, Eagles, Saints, Chargers, Packers, always picking against Tom Brady. Rams, Hawks, obviously the 49ers, and the Cowboys.
Obviously the 49ers. Why was that so obvious?
Because she doesn't love Russell Wilson. It's not her favorite player.
Like you do.
She loves Chris Paul like I do, so she's daddy's girl in that regard. But Russell Wilson, she's still upset because she rooted for Peyton Manning and she hasn't really gotten over that Super Bowl. Kind of like, how other members of Seattle haven't gotten over the next Super Bowl. So she hasn't gotten over the Super Bowl.
See, there's one thing. She like, my daddy obsessed with this guy and that guy. I got to choose one. She can't be both. She goes, it's either CP3 or Russ.
She loves Peyton Manning.
CP3 or Russ. And honestly, going with Russ,
Russ would have been a better option.
I think so. I think listen, the Russ would have been a better option. I can't hate, but the CP3.
But I told her, if you pick a player, you get to, you get to always be entertained, but you got to deal with heartbreaking losses in the playoffs because only one team gets to win each year. And she picked Mahomes, and he won the Super Bowl. And what's happened since? Heartbreaking losses in the playoffs every year. So she's sticking with Mahomes, but she still has this love for the Colts and Broncos because of Peyton Manning. But now when Russell got traded to the Broncos, she was upset. And so I kept trolling her with pictures of Peyton and Russell all hanging out together and stuff. So
gross.
Anyway, that's why she picked the 49ers. I knew it before she even submitted her picks. I knew it was coming.
Not bad, not bad. Well, I like Carly. I love her. Let her know. Smart decision not to like the Denver Broncos. So we're going to move on to our next topic. We're going to talk about some teams on the rise and some teams on the decline in the NFL right now after the first 2 weeks and even looking before the week started. I'll let you handle this one first. The teams on the rise. Who do you think, which 3 teams are you picking, that you're very, very impressed with their standings so far and what they got going on?
Number 1, the Bills are even more impressive than I thought. I knew they'd be dope. Kind of remind me of Brett Favre when I was younger, when he couldn't get past the hurdle of the Dallas Cowboys, and then you knew they were going to come back stronger and better next year. And Favre was a pick for MVP, and he ended up winning it. It kind of reminds me of that. They're just an offensive force. And even if they turn the ball over, they're still going to score 30, 40 points. So they really impressed me, and they got the defense, special teams. They got it all. Coaching seems to be, everything's in sync. So it's only 2 weeks in, but they're really impressed me right now, especially with how they murdered the Rams on the road there.
Nice.
Number 2, the Dolphins. They were competitive in week 1, and they were awesome in week 2. I did not see them coming. Did they win week 1?
Yeah, they beat the Pats.
They beat the Pats, right? They beat the Pats, yeah. So there you go. So they're 2-0, and 2 was playing very well. There might have been some open guys in that game, but you throw that many yards, that many touchdowns, game-winning touchdown in traffic, you earn that win. Great win by Tua. Great win by that Dolphins team. Very resilient. They got stops when they needed to. Number 3, the Eagles. They look great so far. I knew they'd be good. I did pick them to make the playoffs, but they're looking like the division favorites right now, even over the Giants who win these nail biters. But I'm definitely saying the Eagles seem like the best team in the NFC East at this point.
Nice. So on the rise, first and foremost, the Dolphins. The Dolphins look amazing. Mike McDaniels coming from San Francisco to, Dolphins is doing an amazing job. Some of the acquisitions, I remember we both sat here and talked about how, if it was a good trade with that whole Tyreek Hill, and then how much they gave up and how much they're going to pay him, was it worth it? Is he worth it? All of that. We sat here and talked about all of that. Everything so far seems like it's been worth it from where I'm sitting. Tua is still on his rookie contract, so they can still afford to pay guys around him and, get the most out of them right now. So, yeah, right now, Miami Dolphins look good right now. And I think, they're one of the teams that, are up and coming. And, the Bills need to put up a fight with them this week. And, that's going to test both, like I said, Tua and the Dolphins defense, actually. So, yeah, I'm sticking with the Dolphins as one of my teams on a huge rise. The second team is Detroit Lions. First game, they put up 35 against the Eagles, which the Vikings that they're playing this week struggle to put barely put 7 points up against the Eagles. Hence another reason why I'm going with the Detroit Lions beating the Vikings. Again, as you look at it, Jared Goff looks very comfortable. Last year they won the very last game. They got very confident. Amon St. Brown is playing amazing out of his head right now, and their defense doesn't look that bad. They still have Jameson Williams who I know his family, amazing player. He will be back. You know, he's hurt, was the best receiver in college last year. He got drafted by them, but he's still hurt. And he will be back. Hutchison, the DN, played amazing. He already has 3 sacks already as a rookie. He's playing for, tremendous, football right now. The last but not the least, I agree with you with the Eagles. The Eagles are, on the steamroll. They're gonna win that East pretty easy, if you ask me. The Giants and the Commanders might give them a little bit of a fight. Definitely not the Cowboys with or without Dak Prescott, if I'm being truly honest. It's every year with the Cowboys, it's the same shit over and over. So I'm going with the Eagles winning that division and also being the better team. That I could last year they just squeezed and got into the playoffs. This year I think it's gonna be more easier because they're gonna win the division and just wait for whoever that wild card team is. Hopefully the Niners, maybe, I don't know. Now we'll move on to 3 teams that are on a huge decline, and I'll start with this one because I couldn't wait to get here. Indianapolis Colts. Like I said before, Matt Ryan is not even Matt Ryan at best is an average quarterback. Matt Ryan, years before, looked so good under Kyle Shanahan's offense. He was amazing. Years prior, when he had Roddy White and Julio Jones, he was amazing. But the Matt Ryan after that Super Bowl against the Patriots has never been the same. He's been on decline. He could get the ball out, that's for sure. His arm strength is still there, but it looks like the way he reads the game is very off. Throws a lot of picks. He's going to put up 350 yards, no touchdown, 1 interception. Very fond of him. He does that a lot. And I think they actually declined by, trading for him and, getting rid of Carson Wentz. I think Carson Wentz is younger, a little bit more mobile. He did a lot. He did a lot. He can put the ball in places. Carson Wentz has these games where he looks like, oh, wow, young Aaron Rodgers. He has games like that. But then he has games where he looks like young Matt Ryan, so I could see why they got rid of him and also how they missed the playoffs by, losing to Jacksonville the last game. That was very terrible of them. And I can understand the Colts being in a position where they have one of the best linemen, offensive linemen, and one of the best defense as well too. So now they're just looking for that switch, just like the Rams did to get over that hump to be in a Super Bowl and win it with Stafford. That's what they wanted, and I think they made a mistake going with a guy like Matt Ryan. I think they would have been in a better position going with a guy like Jimmy. Why? Because Jimmy's still confident. He still feels like he has a lot to prove. Matt Ryan, on the other hand, he's at that back end of his career. And I don't trust anything that he has to do on offense personally.
Matt Ryan, to your point on Matt Ryan, I think he was a borderline top 10 quarterback for like a few years of his prime. Then he had the MVP year with Kyle Shanahan up until that 28-3 lead. And like you said, he was never the same after that. But he had that 1 year where he was making throws in the pocket while getting hit, super accurate. He just had that 1 year where everything just clicked. And when you have time in the pocket, then when you habitually, you get comfortable. Then when you get hit, you still make the throws because you're in rhythm all the time. And that's what happened that year. They had innovative play design and great offensive line work, and he had great receivers. But other than that, in his prime, man, he was like somewhere in the 8 to 12 range. I even think he wasn't as good as his numbers because he had the receivers and he had the dome.
He had the weapons, yep.
And he had the dome.
Devontae Freeman, that offense always looked good.
He wasn't in a tough defensive division at that point. So I just think that he had the one super high peak. But other than that, he was 8 to 12 range. And then now, like you said, he's 20 at best. So game, he doesn't have the mobility, and he's not producing touchdowns. That's been his biggest deal in the last few years, not producing touchdowns. And they need to get Jonathan Taylor the ball more, but as we know, they key on the run game.
You can't get the ball to the running back when the passing offense is nothing, because then everybody knows what we're doing. Let's put 7 in the box. Because what are
Yep.
you really gonna do? You gonna throw it? No, that's the shit.
Yep.
They do it to the Niners all the time. But
Right.
the second team I'm going with on a huge decline is the Las Vegas Raiders. Again, they got Devontae Adams. What's gonna happen with Devontae Adams, and you can see a little glimpse of it in the first game, is because he was the number one receiver, Carr is gonna force the ball to him many, many times instead of, going to who's open and, like just understanding the situation of the football game. Okay. You might need a first down. You don't need to go to Devontae Adams for 15 yards. You might need to go to Winfrey for a 3 yard. It's 3rd and 2. You don't got to look for Devontae Adams. I think he's at the point where he's going to force the ball to Devontae Adams. He might have good stats, but then the team is always going to lose because of how they want to force the ball to this receiver. We're paying $28 million a year, and all eyes are on us because we were buddies, and I want to still maintain that relationship. Because at this point, if he doesn't get the ball, yeah, it was Carr's problem. He couldn't get him the ball. But if he gets the ball, Carr got the ball to him. We just didn't win. But again, Derek Carr looks like an average quarterback. At best, a little maybe a 0.1 or 2 over average. He looks just like Jimmy G in that, just has a better arm, if you ask me. But I think Jimmy's even tougher than Carr. So yes, I'm going with the Raiders on a huge decline. I think they're gonna miss the playoffs this year. They're gonna be 7-10 at best. Great defense they do. They have some defensive players, and Max Crosby, and Chandler Jones. They're still gonna do what they do, but unfortunately, on the offensive side, I don't think Derek Carr can hold his own this year. And last but not the least is Tennessee Titans. Why? Mike Vrabel. I am very disappointed in you. One, because you got rid of a guy like AJ Brown to go get a guy that kind of looks like AJ Brown. I have AJ Brown. Why get rid of AJ? You know what I mean? Just think about his whole time he's been there. I feel like he is a running, he was a great defensive player himself, and I think he loves the running game and the running backs way too much. Because if you think about it, same situation happened with Corey Davis. He got let go. They stayed with AJ Brown after his rookie contract was about to be over. They didn't pay him. He also went. They got Robbie Woods, and now all you got your best player on the offensive side besides Derrick Henry might be Robert Woods, because it definitely ain't Ryan Tannehill. Ryan Tannehill is like a younger Matt Ryan, but with a better arm, if you ask me. He has won some games against the Patriots when he was with the Fins, when he was healthy. But again, he's not a game changer. He's a game manager. When you got a good running game going, Ryan Tannehill is going to keep you in games. He's going to keep you in games, but he's not going to be the guy that you're down 8 points, a minute, 37 seconds to go. Ryan Tannehill has to drive down, score, and get a 2-point conversion. It's not happening. You know what I mean? He's not that kind of guy. So to take away his huge assets around him and just rely on, your run game, I think that was very poor of the whole organization. And even Mike Vrabel, like I said, to let that happen. You have A.J. Brown, that young. He won the Eagles for nothing. You could have kept him and paid him that money. You could have kept AJ Brown and Corey Davis, but yeah, now they're gonna be on another decline. I think they're also gonna miss the playoffs. So these 3 teams, Colts, Raiders, Tennessee, all missing the playoffs. The Raiders and Tennessee made it last year, but that ain't happening this year. Your take and your thoughts on teams on a decline, Mike?
All right. I agree with you on the Colts for all the reasons you said. I agree with you on the Raiders. I do think they have the pieces, but I don't see them winning more than I see them winning about 7 games.
7-10, bro.
And
so you
some
see,
people were picking them to win.
Not I'm in Vegas and I'm hating on them. No, it's just pure facts. And the division they're in is tougher.
Tough division. And they could win 5, 6, 7, 8 games. I don't see them winning more than 8, personally. Now, depends how you wanted to say decline. Part of me wants to say the Broncos after 2 weeks, but I do think they turn it back around. Part of me wants to say the 49ers because they lost the quarterback, but they do have Jimmy G in there, and I do think he knows the system, and I think it's going to go pretty well. So I'm going to go with the Bengals. I'm going to say that the Bengals are going to have a tougher season than I had thought. I picked them to be a wild card team, to win 10 games or so, and they could turn it around, but I could definitely see them winning 6 or 7 now with all that competition in the AFC.
Yeah.
So that's, like I said earlier about Burrow, I think he's a great talent. I think he's got great pocket awareness. He's got a great arm. He's accurate. But, reading the defense and pre-snaps and leadership, getting rid of the ball, that's what he's going to have to work on right now. And, Super Bowl losers don't always have the easiest time coming back historically.
Yeah.
Whether that's coincidental or whether that's, part of that's just the way it goes when you lose a Super Bowl. It's usually not easy. So, yeah, those are my 3 teams.
So you
on
got
the
Colts, Raiders, and Cincy.
And Cincy, yep.
Nice. I could see Cincy that happening with them, especially starting 0-2 and losing to a team like Dallas Cowboys without Dak Prescott. So that's tough. And then our last topic for the day, we're gonna go with our 5 MVP candidates year to date. I'll let you handle this. Start with that. All right, we'll go one by one. We'll start on 5. Who's your number 5? At 5,
Tyreek Hill.
Hill at 5. Okay.
290 yards total, 2 touchdowns.
Nice.
And I think he's the best receiver in the league thus far. I know Diggs has 4 touchdowns, but he's got the better quarterback. So through 2 games, the Hill has been the most impactful receiver in the league, and I'm rewarding him for that.
All right. I could see where you're coming from, but I'm going to have to disagree. But why? Because sometimes being in the right system, right players around you sometimes make you better than the other guy. I'm going with Diggs again because he has a more reliable system, more reliable quarterback. So he's my number 5 right now. I'm on the MVP list. And now number 4.
Number 4, Saquon Barkley, 282 total yards, a touchdown, 2-0 record. Driving force of the Giants.
Nice. I do love Saquon. Whitehall guy. Like I said, met him once. He is doing amazing. The Giants look good, but I'm gonna have to go at 4 with Micah Parsons on the Dallas Cowboys with 4 sacks already. That boy doing amazing things. Okay, and I think he's gonna be a huge reason of Dallas Cowboys 6-win to 7-win successful season. Because 6-7 wins to the Cowboys is a good season.
I believe yours truly said he was the best linebacker in the league. That's a smart guy.
Who?
Me.
You said he's the best linebacker in the league.
I believe so. We'll check the tape.
He plays a lot of positions.
We'll check the instant replay. We'll see.
He's a great asset to the Cowboys. They put him at linebacker, D, and he does
versatile.
So yeah,
like Lawrence versatile. Taylor a little bit. All right.
I go with him at 4.
All right. Number 3, Lamar Jackson. 667 total yards, 7 touchdowns, 1 turnover, but does have a 1-1 record.
Nice. Number 3, I'm going with another defensive player, and Nick Bosa with 3 sacks and a lot of quarterback hits, rushes, and a fumble forced already. We all know Nick is, the one of the main force on the Niners. I believe our superstars. We have more superstars on defense than offense, and he's one of them. One of those guys that stout defender. You're gonna see him every play. If it's a pass play, Nick Bosa has something to do with how the play went.
Yeah, and it's one of those debates where it's like when you judge a player based on how good they are relative to their position. it's fair. I look at it like, hey, Nick Bosa, Mika Parsons, these guys are on par with the guys I'm putting on his MVP list. But I just think the way football is designed in 2022, really for the last 20, 30 years, it's so difficult for a defensive player to have the impact that a quarterback does. But defensive players do, impact everything around them. You see that.
They do impact it, but the media and most people want to watch
the rules
offense.
The rules as well.
Exactly. And because of that, it's easier for the offensive guy to make a
football
play.
generation.
Absolutely. Yes. And trying to save
But I respect where you're going, because I think that it would be great if we really could have a defensive player win an MVP award.
That would be amazing. And that would be true to the league, and the league would appreciate that, especially the players, because
who knows what would happen without Nick Bosa? Who knows what the 49ers defense would look like?
We will not be who we are. The Niners look that good because of our defense. Yeah. First game we lost, to the Bears, but we were in the game each time because of the defense. Look at last year, even the NFC Championship, we were in the game because of our defense as well. The game before against Green Bay, what's his name? They couldn't even throw for 100 yards, but we were still in the game.
You take him away, it just creates a domino effect where someone's got to fill in for him, they got to fill in for that guy, and the whole defense just changes. So
absolutely,
I get why they are super valuable. So my number 2, Patrick Mahomes, 599 total yards, 7 touchdowns, no turnovers, 2-0 record.
Nice. At 2, I'm going with Mahomes as well, just because that boy is hungry. 1 and 2 is both quarterbacks. 1, I already said it before the season started. It is my boy Josh Allen. At 1, I got Allen, Mahomes, Bosa, Parsons, and Diggs. Who's your number 1, Mike?
Josh Allen, 680 total yards, 8 touchdowns, 2 picks. That's all right. You can have 2. You can have a couple picks when you're producing 340 yards.
When you throw that many touchdowns, yes, sir.
You can do that. And an honorable mention to Mr. Hurts in Philly. I wanted to put him on here, but I wanted to represent some of the other positions.
Absolutely. I could definitely see that, appreciate that as well. But my honorable mention is Justin Jefferson. I think he's gonna lead the league this year. Him and Cooper Kupp are gonna, fight for that number 1 receiver in the league. This because Stafford is not done being obsessed with Kupp. We saw how he can, just really focus on one guy when he proves to be that guy. So honorable mention, Justin Jefferson. JJ, unfortunately, you got Kirk throwing that rock to you, but if it was anybody else, you got it. Brady whatsoever, I promise you, he put up 20 touchdowns. But if anybody is going to be the first to put if this year we could see a double, over 19, about 20 touchdown receiving, that could be Justin Jefferson. A guy like him is capable of doing that.
Bound to happen at some point.
Mention. All right. Great episode today. Thanks for everyone for tuning in. Again, this is the Raw Sports Debate brought to you by Michael, Steven, and myself. All right. Everybody have a wonderful week. Start the weekend off great. We start the week off with the Browns and the Steelers tomorrow. Go Browns.
All right. Peace out. Go Broncos.